As the Enigma Dominion readies its final assault on mutant kind, Charles Xavier makes one last gamble for the future in a battle taking place inside and outside time itself. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into Rise of the Powers of X issue number 5, the grand finale of this series, and find out what happens together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, the Infinite Phoenix finally takes her first flight. This new super being is both Jean and Hope and the Phoenix Force simultaneously. We know this because the personification of the Phoenix has this really interesting way of talking, referring to Jean as Mother Me. They also take this opportunity to wrap up some final hanging plot threads involving the White Hot Room and also all the souls of the mutants who were lost in the waiting room. Basically, the new Infinite Phoenix is so incredibly powerful, she's able to just pick up all of these souls and carry them with her, I think. In fact, I'm going to be saying I think a lot in this finale. I believe the idea is supposed to be is that the Infinite Phoenix, the White Hot Room, and everything else is kind of crashing into each other at the moment. It's all very I am she as we are he as you are me as we are all here together, I am the Phoenix goo goo gajoob. As the Infinite Phoenix readies for the final battle, back on Earth we see all the other mutants celebrating the defeat of Orchis, knowing full well that even though they have won their battle, the real ultimate test will be shouldered by Jean herself, and even though Destiny has regained the abilities to see the future, she's very tight-lipped on what exactly she's seeing in the here and now. Of course, the Nathaniel Essex-created Enigma Dominion is a dirty old cheater and never planned to fight the Infinite Phoenix fairly. Because of that, he sent a message to all the other Dominions throughout the Infinite Multiverse to come and back him up. Only here's the thing, once all the other Dominions are right here above Earth, they decide that they don't actually like Enigma or want to help him, and their reasoning is actually very fascinating. They basically say as Dominions, they're supposed to be the ultimate forms of evolution, the final stop. They're supposed to be above caring about such petty things as revenge and rivalries. Yet despite all of that, Enigma just cannot stop screwing with mutant kind, proving that he maybe isn't all the Dominion he was cut out to be. But why, you might be asking, did the others even bother showing up if they weren't going to help Enigma? Well, they want to wish Jean the Infinite Phoenix well in kicking this guy's ass. Not that Enigma is too scared, he says he's far and away the most powerful of all these Dominions, while the Infinite Phoenix is a freshly hatched bird. This also will be a final battle that won't be held in one single space. Oh no, Dominion plans to travel all across the known timeline and destroy everything that Jean ever loved or held dear. But believe it or not, that's also not the whole story, as from there we transition over to Charles Xavier, who managed to give not only Orchis but the X-Men the slip after their final battle. He's gone looking for Moira McTaggart, and it only makes sense. This Krakoan era began with these two, so it's only right it should end with them as well, right? Charles starts by shocking Moira in a big bad way by pulling her into the astral plane, something she no longer thought was possible given the fact that she is almost entirely a machine now. But as Xavier is attempting to explain, Moira was human once, part of her touched the astral plane, and there may be more human inside of her than she believed. In fact, it's that humanity that Xavier has come to try and appeal to today. Hell, Chuck is even brutally honest too, saying that he had the opportunity to shoot and kill Moira as a young child, but he opted not to do it. Instead, he decided to gamble on one final Hail Mary play, that Jean would be able to do her job and fight the Enigma Dominion across time and space, while he made Moira an offer that he hopes she won't refuse. If she agrees to go peacefully, Xavier will transport her mind as it is now into her body at 13 before her powers activate. He'll then summon Jean, she'll work her Phoenix magic, and the time loop will hopefully be closed. At first, Moira is understandably resistant about all of this, but eventually Charles does start chipping away at her hard exterior. Moira admits that the only reason she started all of this to begin with was because she feared her power, she feared being stuck in an infinite loop, and even though she was promised amazing power by the Enigma Dominion, she now realizes that if Enigma actually wins, she would be just as stuck as before, just in a different form. Hell, a worse form, obviously, because she would have to live the rest of eternity next to a version of frickin' Nathaniel Essex. And I mean, really, hanging out with Mr. Sinister for too long, that's just a fate much worse than death, yeah? Professor X further clinches this deal by saying that he started this Krakoan experiment so long ago because he believed in the goodness that existed inside Moira, and he hopes that goodness is still here and now. Moira ends up agreeing to Charles's terms, the Infinite Phoenix is summoned, and then a bunch of different stuff all ends up happening happening at once. This version of Moira ends up getting burned away, which in turn weakens the Enigma Dominion enough for Infinite Phoenix to launch her final assault, which I have to admit is one hell of a finishing move. Jean basically summons up the spirits of every X-Men that we've ever known. They all draw their own version of the Phoenix Blade in a massive, glorious whole-page spread that ultimately ends with Infinite Phoenix stabbing the Enigma Dominion through the face with her own Wolverine hot claws. Because, you know, hey, this is still a team book after all, and even though Jean ended up being the single most important mutant who ever lived, you know, everyone else still got to be involved, they still got to do stuff, they were still on the page. We also learned, despite what it looked like here, Infinite Phoenix didn't actually kill the Enigma Dominion, instead deciding to split him into millions of different pieces which will be forced to live at the very moment of death for the rest of eternity in never-ending anguish. Apparently she did this as a warning to any other all-powerful Dominion out there within time and space. Don't mess with Earth, and especially don't mess with the X-Men. But believe it or not, this happy ending actually isn't the ending at all, because the book keeps going. We check back on in with Xavier, who willingly turns himself into the human authorities for his crimes committed while working for Orchis. Which would probably explain why we haven't seen him in any of the From Ashes promotional material that's come out so far. But believe it or not, that's also not the end, because we get treated to two final stingers. One is a logic chart explaining the entire Dominion battle we just saw, and revealing that in defeating Enigma and allowing Moira to go back in time, she was able to break her 10 lives and actually end up having infinite lives. But that's also okay, because the Moira we see is actually a Moira who ended up being happy and not trapped by her powers in a new timeline that is actively personified by the logo of the Phoenix. Again, I think if you needed a whole logic tree to explain your ending, maybe you should have tried explaining the ending a little harder. And so there you have it, everyone. That was Rise of the Powers of X issue number 5, and overall I thought it was a much better, much more resonant, much more effective ending than Fall of the House of X was. I said it before, but I'll say it again. I appreciate that all of this Krakoa stuff started with a simple meeting on a park bench between Xavier and Moira, and the whole story ended basically the exact same way. The Infinite Phoenix's showdown with the Enigma was also similarly epic and over the top, and the artists absolutely made a meal out of their battle across time. Still though, my main complaint for the Krakoan era still remains very much the same, and that is, hey, that was a lot of cool stuff, that was some fun character moments, but boy did none of that get any time to breathe as the story rushed headlong to the finale. I get it, they want to start From Ashes right away, they want to do the whole X-Men 97 multimedia thing, but boy did Krakoa probably need like another year to actually finish all of this stuff off in a really satisfying way. And again, I don't know, maybe X-Men issue number 700 will be the real send-off we've been looking for. I know I certainly hope so, but for what it's worth, I would give this issue an 8 out of 10. It's fun, it's exciting, it's suitably epic, sometimes it's even emotionally affecting. I just can't shake the feeling, though, that it could have been so much more. It could have been an all-timer, it could have been a contender. Instead, it's just mostly pretty good. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow, and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.